What makes someone a champion? It's not the trophies, it's the passion, the persistence, the resilience, the way you show up for others. I'm sitting down with champions, people who turn adversity into strength, creating a better world for those around them. Because when we move forward together, that's the power of us. Erik Mineo was a standout lacrosse player, but service ran deeper. It was in his blood. With both his father and grandparents having served our country, playing lacrosse at West Point felt like a natural path. He arrived in 2001, just before 9/11, and graduated into a country at war. Erik completed 3 tours in Afghanistan and 1 in Iraq. Since returning home, his mission shifted, now helping fellow veterans find their way back into civilian life.
Can you describe the experience of time overseas in battle and the transition back home?
War is intense and war is hell, but also war can be beautiful in a sense that you can do good for others who can't help or serve themselves or protect themselves. And there's tremendous honor when you can serve and protect others. Now on the other side, you are fighting a war and the bullets are real. And when you have to carry your friends off the battlefield and you carry your brothers off the battlefield, you sustain trauma, right? And that trauma gets internalized. And so that transition into the civilian world can be difficult. It can be challenging. Yes, I know the day I became a civilian, but the transition to understand and to reintegrate into the communities, that's an ongoing process. And that's where you have to do the work.
Yeah, reintegration met with the power of sport, which, coming full circle for you, was Shootout for Soldiers, which in its origin in 2012, you were a part of that opening game.
I was actually at Johns Hopkins University as a director of scholarships and enrollments, and got a phone call and said, hey, there's this 24-hour lacrosse game. Would you mind coming down and speaking to the Maryland Crab lacrosse team and just share some of your experiences and your experiences from combat as a leader and as a lacrosse player? Yeah, I'm in. Where is it? And when? Well, it's happening now and it's at Boys Latin. And I said, great, and went down there and watched this magical event take place. I mean, the whole community showed up, and that was special to see. Wow, people care. The power of sport to connect people is real, and it's there.
Erik's passion for Shootout for Soldiers only grew, fueled by the contagious energy and the tangible impact the event had on veterans and their communities. But a particular moment from the event's early years stood out. One of pride, resilience, and deep brotherhood.
May 15th, 2012, I got a text message. Did you hear what happened to Ben? And in my world back then, you knew exactly what that meant. And short of him dying, the most horrific happened. He stepped on a pressure plate IED. He lost both of his legs, 2 of his fingers, and sustained massive injuries. He shouldn't have survived. But through his toughness, his grit, he did survive. And the most proud moment I have in 2016, Ben Harrow did show up to Shootout for Soldiers in Baltimore with his prosthetic legs, and he stepped in goal. Only in lacrosse can an event like that happen. A double amputee to step on the field and to play goal and have that team of teams camaraderie again, that's a lifetime moment that doesn't exist anywhere else except for Shootout for Soldiers.
Since that first event in 2012, Shootout for Soldiers has continued its one-of-a-kind 24-hour lacrosse game, hosting events from coast to coast with a mission to serve those who served us. Over 70 events later, with millions of dollars raised, the organization continues to grow. And in 2021, Erik stepped in to lead it as its executive director.
How do you think about the power of us?
The power of us, I think, really translates to what Shootout does. We go to local communities and we mobilize local charities and we mobilize local veterans to come out, to educate, engage, and amplify what we're doing. And most importantly, the veterans see everyone. They show up, they look around, and then you see them crack a smile for the first time in sometimes years. And you see them, hey, I started running again. Hey, I started to stretch again. Hey, I'm feeling kind of good. And they have that brotherhood and that camaraderie that they experienced in the military, and that's something that we lose. That is the power of us. That's the definition of a community showing up for one another.
And anecdotally, you've shared in the past that there have been several veterans who have expressed to you that they were on the verge of suicide, and Shootout for Soldiers kept them in it.
The most powerful impact I've personally experienced was a Marine veteran and an Army veteran sharing their stories that they were going to take their lives. But Shootout for Soldiers was a date on the calendar, and they knew that we have to show up, right? It's that brotherhood. And so they said, let me show up for this and just have one more day. And they're both still here today. And we can quantify it with, $6 million raised, 40 different charity partners, 72 events in the last 13 years. But the fact that 2 lives, 2 soldiers, 2 veterans are alive here today, that's a ripple of goodness, that's an immeasurable impact. And I think the more we do that, the more we find that veteran, he or she, who has that trauma, hiding behind that smile, and we get them off their couch, out of their home, into the community, so they see and they feel what I felt. The community is going to show up for you. The community cares about you. And that's an intangible impact that I am on a mission to execute, because there are veterans in need and we have to find them.
Just want to thank you, man. You've meant the world to us.